Good afternoon, everybody, or morning, whatever it is where you're at. Today we're going to be looking at timing information from the href. So I'm going to look at precipitation today, and first let's just get familiar with the data set. So under 1 hour precipitation, I'm going to press statistics. And this, we're looking at the href today, and I'm selected under the grand ensemble. So I'm looking at an average of a bunch of different ensemble members. And really the challenge today is figuring out when the precipitation may start in a particular area. So I'm just going to focus on Spokane, and we'll kind of go from there. So just looking at the data, it may look like the precipitation is starting in the area around 6 a.m. But this is the grand ensemble, right? There could be one ensemble member inflating that average and throwing off this timing information. So another option you can do is look at each member one by one. So here's the her, and here is the FV3, and you can see clearly the FV3 is a little slower. And you can go through every single one if you wanted to, but that would take a lot of time. And we're not going to do that because we actually have this new timing button in DESI. So let's go ahead and press it. So everything happens quite quickly, but what just happened there when I pressed that timing button, it went to the server and it opened up the href, and it opened up the 1 hour precipitation field, and it's looked at all 10 ensemble members and said, hey, what time is the precipitation starting at this pixel and this pixel and this pixel and every single pixel that you see here. And if I go and zoom into the Spokane area, the average time the precipitation will start in Spokane will be 23 hours from now. So that happens to be Monday at 4 a.m. But let's say you're not interested in the average onset time. Let's say you wanted to know the earliest onset time of precipitation. You can press this earliest button. And this would represent the ensemble member that has rain starting the earliest. So the earliest it could start is 10 hours from now. So that's Sunday at 3 p.m. And the latest it could start by pressing this button is 31 hours from now. So that's 12 p.m. So a kind of interesting way to look at the data here. And if you want to see how many members actually make up this statistic, as I hover over Spokane, you can see all 10 members actually have precipitation in Spokane. But you can imagine that not every single member in particular areas would have precipitation. So over here in Montana, I'm getting around 50% of the members are actually showing us reaching our threshold. So speaking of threshold, what is our threshold for precipitation, and can we change it? And the answer is absolutely. So right now, our threshold is set to 0.01 inches. And I can knock this up a little higher, let's say 1/10 of an inch, and I can press that submit button. And here is the timing information on when we expect 1/10 of an inch to fall in a particular area. Now you can see that our threshold is not met in the Spokane area, and it's you can see the little readout there that says that. But there's other areas in the Pacific Northwest where we do expect 1/10 of an inch, and here's the timing of when we would expect that 1/10 of an inch. So that's what that threshold button does. Let me go ahead and lower it back to 1/100 of an inch. If you were interested on when the precipitation may end, you would change the type from onset to cessation. Sorry, I can't talk. So go ahead and press submit there, and you can see that 34 hours from now the precipitation will end in Spokane. So let me switch back to just onset. If you're looking at let's say a different variable like temperature, you would want to probably change this operator. When will the temperatures get less than 32? Or the greater than, when our temperatures greater are going to be greater than 100 degrees. So that's the operator button. We may play with that with our next variable. And this timing button, let's say there was 2 systems coming into the Pacific Northwest, and you only wanted to look at system 1. You could change this slider so we're only looking at Sunday 5 a.m. to Monday at 1 a.m. and press submit. So that really kind of limits the window you're looking at to compute all this timing information. So again, it would be helpful, if there was multiple systems coming through and you just wanted to look at the timing of system 1 or system 2, etc. And then finally, we have this timing bin, and this is just kind of the temporal resolution the data is displayed. So you can see that every single hour, especially in this legend, every single hour has a different color here. If you wanted to group hours into 2-hour bins, you would change this one to a 2 and press submit, and you can kind of see how the data all updates now, and it's in 2-hour blocks. I'm going to go ahead and change it back to 1. Okay, the last button I have not talked about is this all button. So we're looking at the mean, the earliest, the latest. What if you wanted to look at them all at the same time? So that's where the all button comes in. So I'm going to go ahead and press it, and it's going to initialize a bunch of different maps. So it takes a second, at least the first time when you load it. And now we can see the timing information for the earliest precipitation may start, the second earliest, the mean time, the second latest, the latest, and again the percentage of members, which we already kind of went through. So nice handy way to look at everything all at once if you so choose. And finally, let's just look at one other data set. I'm going to look at temperature here, and we're just looking at what may happen over the next 48 hours. And so temperatures are quite cold, and let's see what they start out as. In the teens here in Spokane, but warming up. And so I want to know when temperatures are actually going to get above 32 degrees, if that is even going to happen here in Spokane. We may have to put the threshold a little lower. So I'm going to go to timing once again under temperature, and I'm going to change this the operator to greater than 32 degrees, and we're going to go for the onset. So when will this first happen? And we can see that about 20 hours from now, temperatures will warm above freezing in Spokane. And let's try the less than. When will temperatures drop below freezing? Okay, so temperatures will drop below freezing at +0 hours, which means they are already below freezing. So that's kind of wrapping it up with the timing information with DESI. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us.